Hello, everybody. Welcome to our final MXGP TV studio show of the year.
Oh.
Pays de Montbéliard. Here we are in France at Villa-sous-Écot, and for our final MXGP TV studio show, as we said, live on MXGPTV.com. Hope you've enjoyed all the shows so far this year, and hope you enjoy this one as well. We've got another fine selection of guests. Thomas Covington already in place here. We've got Tony Cairoli coming up later, and then Michele Rinaldi as well. But before we meet Thomas, Lisa, as we said, it's the final round.
Yeah.
Tony Cairoli already crowned world champion, but there is still European 250, women's, and an MX2 title up for grabs this weekend.
Yeah, it feels strange saying the final round, but yeah, there's still so much still to happen this weekend. But
oh, we'll sort her out, don't worry. Well, look, let's get on with the show. A lot to get through today. Thomas Covington, the last time we saw you from Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing was the opening show of the season in Qatar. A lot's happened since then, hasn't it? Wasn't the best start of the year for you, the first 3 rounds. What was it that was so problematic in the beginning part of the season?
Yeah, I was just a little bit unlucky with the couple of, actually 3 DNFs I had. Yeah, it was a bummer to start off the season like that. Lost a lot of points, but you know, the second half of the season's gone really well. Or even actually since we came back to Europe there on the 4th or 5th round, it's been going really well. And yeah, I'm happy with the progress this year.
Well, I was going to say, you got those first 3 out of the way, then Patagonia happened. Or Mexico, sorry. Came away with a win there for the second time in your career. What is it about that place that you like so much? Because, you know, you've gone from 13th was your best result to then not just getting on the podium, but winning it. Yeah,
you know, it's funny. People ask me that all the time, but there's really nothing in particular that I really like about the place. You know, the track's nothing special. It's maybe a little bit like what I ride on in California a lot, but you know, I just end up getting good starts and able to run up front there. So
how was the track there that day? Drier than normal?
Yeah, I mean, the track was perfect actually for Mexico. I mean, you know, the last time I went there, it was pretty muddy, so. This year the track was in perfect condition.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, tell us about the second half of the season. A good solid run of 3 GPs. Lombardia, Portugal and Lockett, you were on the podium. And, of course, you took a race win in Lockett as well. All seemed to turn around for you, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think once I got that first podium, it just kind of got things rolling for me. Because up until then, I haven't had a lot of success at the European round. So it was just a big confidence booster for me, especially to win in Czech Republic, because that's a track that I've really struggled at in the past, you know, in years before. Struggled to even score points my first year there, so was really happy with that.
And again, looking at the conditions there, we had, you know, it was pretty wet on the Sunday. Are we starting to ascertain that you're a better mud rider than you know what I mean? You don't mind riding in the mud. Is that because of where you're from? Does it rain over that part of the world where you grew up? Not California, obviously.
Oh, I mean, not really. I mean, I would still consider the Euro guys a bit better in the mud, but you know, a few times I've gotten good starts in the mud, and that's so important when the track's like that and able to keep it on 2 wheels up front.
Okay. Well, you're 5th in points at the moment, and arguably your best season so far. But is there an element of frustration given the fact that, you know, the podiums that you've had, the race wins that you've got, the beginning of the season, you know, where things were difficult, you know, you could have been shooting for the podium, maybe even the title? Yeah,
for sure. That's in the back of my mind. Lost so many points those first 3 rounds. It was just started off really on a bad foot, but. You know, I'm just trying to get myself used to being in the top 3 every moto, because that's what I'll have to do next season to be in the chase for the title.
Is it a case of could have, should have done better when you look back in hindsight?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what it was that threw me off those first 3 rounds. Maybe I just wasn't completely ready and took some time to get into racing form. But you know, we'll take all that into account this off season and we'll be ready.
Cool.
We were in the USA recently. What were your thoughts on how everything went there? And now we've had time to reflect, and of course another 3rd overall for you as well.
Yeah, the USGP was awesome. It was really cool to see like all the American fans that have been following the series so far this year and you know, cheering me on. It's pretty cool to see because in years past, you know, not a lot of Americans watch the GPs, but I feel like that's starting to change.
Yeah.
How was the track there? A lot of positive comments from a lot of riders. Do you share those same kind of views? Because it was a last-minute change of venue as well, wasn't it? And it only ever previously held a qualifying round for Loretta's.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited when they announced it was going to Gatorback at the beginning because I've got a lot of laps there. Yeah. So I was pumped about that. But then I'd never been to WW Ranch before this, and yeah, I was really happy with the track. It was pretty sandy, and then with the rain they had, it was really soft too, so the track got pretty rutted up, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
Disappointed not to get that race win in Moto number 1, of course.
Yeah, for sure I was disappointed, but you know, it was still a good weekend.
Yeah. Well, look, the Motocross of Nations is just a couple of weeks away. What are your thoughts about representing Team USA for the first time? What are your thoughts on the track? Because obviously that was the first place you raced in Europe in the MX 250 Championship, and you were looking good there back then. And yeah, from my side, I'm guessing you're really looking forward to that whole weekend. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, that's what I told Roger when I told him I'd like to get the shot. You know, it's one of my favorite tracks in Europe, and yeah, I always enjoy racing there. I seem to do pretty well, and yeah, I can't wait. It's such a great opportunity, and it's going to be crazy with all the fans there.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, well, we have a question on social media for you, TC. This one's from DWilly112, and he says, what other sport would you have chosen other than motocross?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I wasn't that good at any other sports besides motocross. But no, I was really into football, American football.
Okay.
Yeah,
so skinny little you, like a big burly American football player.
I don't have the size.
I can't see that at all.
Yeah, I guess it's more of a dream than actually happening, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so American football for TC here. Cool.
Have you had a chance to talk to any of the teammates from Team USA? Obviously, Cole Seeley, you know, first time on the team for him. Zach has ridden the Nations before, but yeah, first time for Team USA, outdoor national champion as well. He's over here, isn't he, at the moment, in Europe?
Yeah, I've talked to Zach a little bit. I think he got over to England this week, and I don't know, hopefully we'll get together and ride a little bit the week before, so it'll be cool.
All right. And what are your plans after this one? There's, like I say, a couple of weeks, 1 weekend free, a little bit of testing, because you're going to be riding a 450, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll start testing a little bit on Monday straight away after this GP, and then after that, just get some time on the bike. And, you know, I rode the 450 a little bit beginning of the season, just training, and I feel really comfortable on it. It suits my riding style pretty well, so, yeah, I'm super stoked to hop on the 450.
All right, Thomas Covington, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing. Thanks for joining us here today. Our next guest is in the studio area. We'll catch up with Tony Cairoli in a moment, but before we do, let's check out some of the highlights from MX2 Race 2 a week ago, the MXGP of the Netherlands at Assen. With the MX2 title race still up for grabs, Paul Jonas was looking for a great start, but it was Conrad Mewse for the second time this year on his Rockstar Energy Husqvarna that grabbed the Foxhole shot. But in the early stages, it was clear that Jorge Prado had one thing on his mind. He started in second. He eventually found his way into the lead on lap 5, but only briefly. Conrad Mewse responding immediately. Julian Lieber was back in third. Calvin Volandren made a great start for HSF Logistics Motorsport, but then Lieber fell from third place down to 9th. He would eventually come home in 8th for LRT KTM. Mewse eventually succumbed to the number 61. Jorge Prado found his way into the lead and never looked back. As the race went on, Mewse came under attack. Volandren fell whilst challenging, whilst his teammate Thomas Kjær-Olsen over at Rockstar Energy Husqvarna was charging his way through, hoping to make the top 3. Brian Bogus also made a poor start, but he was climbing his way through as well. He eventually came home in 5th position as Jeremy Seewer charged through, passed Conrad Mewse, got himself into 2nd around about the halfway mark. He then went after Prado for the lead. Thomas Kjær-Olsen was almost secure with 3rd place in the championship. But there was frantic action all over the racetrack as Volandren powered his way past Mewse. Eventually he came home in 4th place, despite that mistake earlier on in the moto. Hunter Lawrence, who was on the podium in the USA, came home 6th in race 2. His teammate continued to press Prado. They battled for the lead, but on the final lap, Seward could do nothing about the Spaniard's speed, and it was Prado who went on to take his 4th race win of the season and his 3rd overall Grand Prix victory in his rookie season in MX2. Jonas joined him on the podium. Seward 3rd. Jonas opens up a 41-point lead now with just a round to go, which means he gains 1 point on Seward in the title race. The fight is still very, very much on. In MX2, who will it be that is crowned world champion when we head to Villars-sous-Écot in a week's time? Just getting into that music. MX2 Race 2 from Assen just a week ago.
I think you should stick to commentating.
I will, you're right. Well, look, our second guest is in position now, and he's none other than a 9-time world champion now, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing's Antonio Cairoli. Welcome to our studio show.
Thank you.
And first thing, congratulations. Finally, the 9th title. It happened.
Yeah, finally.
It's been a long wait.
We are back on the, here on the World Championship. We won, so we are very, very happy after 2 years of struggling. But we made it again.
Well, look, let's talk about that just briefly. We have highlights coming up from the last part of the race. You're still giving chase to Jeffrey. And tell us about those final few corners and also the run into the finish line and the celebration afterwards, because there were some crazy scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, for me it was good, that I could chase him. We know that Jeffrey for sure is one of the fastest on the sand, and especially in this condition with so many ruts and like this. I like more the dry sand, where you can a little bit flow and jump around. Now it was more some places very strange because it was soft underneath. But I try, my best to win the moto. But he was responding very good. So
I'm just going to get our director there just to turn the volume back up just on the running towards the finish line here, because it was quite a special moment. John, can you hear us there? No? Okay, so we're not going to get the audio. But yeah, running in towards the line, it was very, very close between you two. Obviously, Jeffrey Hurlings came home for the race win in front of his home fans, but you were crowned. Here we go.
Yeah, it was a fantastic feeling, to win. But then on this moment, I throw the bike, but I forget that I have to be with everybody, so I take it back the bike. And I'm sorry.
I've not seen that.
I'm sorry for Tanel that he wanna. Yeah, but I had to rush to go back to stick to the plan. So, but
it was almost like you didn't have a plan.
No, in the beginning, everything was just all the enthusiasm. But then I say, I have to go there. So
yeah, that's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, the last 2 years haven't really. It's been a struggle for you. How difficult has it been to keep that motivation going and that energy to get the wins?
Yeah, I always have the motivation, but it's difficult when you have injuries and you cannot test the bike how you want. You don't ride much, so you don't trust yourself and the bike much. And but when you have a good winter, that you feel that everything is going well, and we testing was perfect, and your physically is responding good to the heavy training, and so you are motivated, to go 100% again.
I hear it was quite quiet occasion when you guys were celebrating. Did you enjoy the moment?
Oh yeah, it was very good. To like the celebration. They are always nice. We try to make it every time more crazy. But.
I asked Tony yesterday, did you have a sore head on Monday morning? He goes, I still had a sore head on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday I tried to go running a little bit because I say, okay, I need to go running a little bit, because we drink something. It's normal after the race, and I had to stop after 5 minutes.
No,
I had some pain, around.
You had to stop drinking after 5 minutes, or running after 5 minutes?
No, running after 5 minutes. I had to stop, so I had to walk back home. But I hope this weekend is a little bit better.
Oh, okay.
Well, look, you could have won the title a week before in the US. Again, we got some footage from that second moto, because a lot of people were wondering whether you would turn up to fight for the title, because a week before we saw Jeffrey, in the US, and Eli Tomac was going for the title out there, and everyone was saying, but Eli has a lot to lose. They were saying the same about you, weren't they? That you have a lot to lose if you try and push, maybe just, don't push. But the second moto, you came out, You were firing, you were ready to fight, and then this happened.
Yeah, look, there was I was always jumping on the middle here, and then there was this lap rider. As I said, okay, I switched a little bit to the inside, but to be honest, I was not. I was a little bit tired already from 2 laps, keeping that rhythm, because I put a little bit on the side the trainings last after Locket, also to avoid injuries on training, so I didn't ride much in the week. So to keep that rhythm, you need to stay 100% always. And I wasn't. I switched line there, and then I lost the front, and crash. But I want to really win the GP. But
yeah, what did you think because it was a simple crash? What went through your mind at that point? Were you just like, there goes the title?
No, actually, it's for me it was important to win the GP. So there was only I think 5 minutes of the race still. So I try to win, but it's possible. When you are not focused at 100% and on that level, and it's difficult to keep the speed.
Was it important to win in front of the US fans for you? Because obviously it's a different public, different fan base.
No, I mean, especially I like more the race in Florida because the track I like it more than Glen Ellen. I have to say it's more soft and more line choice. I liked a lot the track, so I was enjoying a lot the racing. So my plan, was like after Sweden already, which was a race that I really struggle a lot. I want to control a little bit, but when you don't ride for the win, you don't ride, for 15 or 16 place. When you are on that middle, yeah, it's better you go for 100%, always. So I struggled in Sweden a lot, but was still enough for the championship. So when I like the track, like it was in USA, I say, okay, now I go also for the GP win because I think the track was very nice. So I could give myself a try. But it's a very difficult season. When you start, with so many pressure on. But we didn't have much this year because nobody really expects that we could claim again the title. But in the end, was very good.
All right. Well, look, more from Antonio in just a moment. Just another quick reminder how you can watch all of the action from the 2017 FIA Motocross World Championship. If you don't already have MXGP TV, which means you're watching this at a friend's house or on somebody else's computer, then maybe now is the time to sign up. Of course, with the season almost at an end, we're still offering the chance to subscribe to MXGP TV with a discount of 70%. And that includes all the action live and on demand for the rest of the season, including the Monster Energy FIA Motocross Nations presented by Fit Professional. And everything that we've had so far up until this point, that's where the on-demand part as well. There's also the 26-minute behind the gate highlight programs as well. For more information, go to mxgptv.com and enjoy the action.
Yeah. Okay, well, Tony, it's the final GP of the season. Is the pressure off now? How are you going to approach this weekend? Are you going to enjoy it, relax, or are you going to still fight for those wins? I try to be on the podium for sure. That's my goal, to close a good season. But we'll see. We'll see now how we feel with the track, and we come from 1 week now, especially that I had so many. I had to run around in Italy for so many stuff to do with media and stuff. I didn't do really much, and so I see how it goes. I have some experience already now, so I can see if I can handle it. For the podium, it would be good. But otherwise, we're looking forward already for next year. For the next test. That we have some new stuff for the bike to test. So I'm already with the mind, for next year.
Okay. We're running out of time, so we need to be quick.
Just quickly, Motocross Nations coming up. You looking forward to it? Yeah,
I'm looking forward. The Motocross of Nations is always a very special event, and a lot of Italians, a lot of people from all the world come, and so for the overall result, we try to do our best. That's our goal, is to finish on the podium. That's what we try to do, but it's difficult. So many good countries around.
Okay, and finally, a question on social media from MX Justin. After 9 world titles, is there any particular riding technique you would like to improve? If so, which one?
I see that this year I improve a little bit my technique still, but I need to, I'm on the lap times, I'm not always the fastest, because, I struggle always in my life, to do only one single lap so fast, but I would like to improve that. And then that's it. For the race-wise, I'm pretty satisfied.
Okay.
All right, Tony, congratulations again on title number 9. All the best this weekend as well, going for Grand Prix victory number 84 believe it or not. So, right, more from the studio show in a moment when we catch up with Michele Rinaldi. But before we meet him, let's see what happened. Here's highlights from MXGP Race 2 from Assen a week ago. Tony Cairoli ran the #1 plate on the front of his Red Bull KTM, decided to start up the inside for MXGP Race 2, and he got swallowed up at turn 1 as Max Nagel raced to his third Vauxhall shot of 2017. Behind them, Glenn Koldenhoff, Tommy Searle, Evgeny Bobashev and Nick Kouwenberg all fell at turn 2, but they all managed to pick themselves up and rejoin the race. Jeffrey Hurlings made a similar start to that of race 1, down in 4th, picked his way past 2 Yamahas in the form of Jeremy Van Horbik and Roman Febvre. And then he went after Max Nagel on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, who made a rocket start. Haven't seen too much of Nagel at the front of the field in recent weeks, but he was doing his best to stay ahead of the chasing pack. But it was Hurlings who went clear on lap 2, right in front of his home fans, and started to pull clear, as you would expect in the sandy conditions. Cairoli charged down the inside of Max Anstey, got himself briefly into 5th, and then went after the 2 Yamahas of Van Horbik and Febvre. He eventually made his pass up the inside of the number 89 Belgian. That got him into 4th as his team looked on, knowing that the title was in the bag, of course, from moto #1. Febvre came under attack from Cairoli. He eventually got himself past the former world champion into 3rd, went after Nagel. And just as it looked like he would find his way past the German, Cairoli made a simple error. He had visibility problems after pulling all of his tear-offs off. It was a simple fall over on the far side of the circuit when he lost the front end as Anstey continued his pursuit through the field. That was the mistake from Cairoli. And after that, the fight was gone. Couldn't see, didn't want to risk anything. Cairoli, the new champ, came home in 6th. Kevin Strybos had another good ride. He came home 7th ahead of Gauthier Paulin, who was 8th on the number 21 Husqvarna. But it was Jeffrey Hurlings who was invincible at home at Assen. The Dutch fans delighted with another Hurlings victory. His 11th race win of the season, his 5th Grand Prix victory of the year. Febvre on the podium for the 2nd time, so too Anstey with 3rd. They tied on points. Cairoli is world champion, Hurlings 2nd, Gauthier Paulin all but assured of 3rd after Dessau fell in race 1, didn't score in race 2, but all eyes on Jeffrey Hurlings. We will be back in France in a week's time for the final round at Villars-sous-Écot and the MXGP of Pays de Montbéliard. But it was Tony Cairoli who was victorious here this weekend, the big winner and a 9-time world champion. Congratulations, Tony, and everybody at Red Bull KTM on their success in 2017. So that was Assen 1 week ago. Our final guest is in place. Of course, for those of you who are relatively new to the Motocross World Championship, Michele Rinaldi was Italy's first ever world champion. And he's also the owner of the Monster Energy Yamaha MXGP factory team as well that has Roman Febvre and Jeremy Van Horbik on the bike. So, Michele, welcome to our studio show here on MXGPTV.com. Before we start with your season and Roman and Jeremy, we just had Tony on a moment ago. He took his 9th title. What are your thoughts on that? It's been a good career for him, hasn't it, so far? As another Italian and another world champion.
I have a big respect for Tony because I think he did something that was even tougher than with that was for Stefan Everts.
Yeah.
Stefan was on our team for he won 6 years in a row,
yeah,
the championship. But I think Tony had to struggle more with the change of class and then also the change of tracks. I think he did something really amazing, especially this year. So we have a big respect. Myself has a big respect. He did attack the championship. He did approach the championship on the right way. And then since the first race, not GP, since the first race in the season, he proven to be really, really on shape.
Yeah.
And then he managed until the end of the season.
And that's how you win championships.
He won the championship, yes, yes, yeah. I think he deserved.
Yeah. 2 years ago, at the same venue in Assen, it was Romain Febvre who was winning the title in MXGP for you, for Yamaha. Does that seem like a distant memory now? Because obviously a lot has happened in the career of Romain Febvre, hasn't it, since that time? It's been a difficult period. Yeah, it's been a difficult period, yes. But Romain came to us 3 years ago, so then we started to know him, and he had an immediately big success on the 15. He was coming from the MX2. So I think in Romain's career, he has to learn how to manage himself, the season, the career, the good and the bad things, which is not very simple and not very obvious for all the riders. I think 16 has been a difficult season, also for the injury, 17 also. But my personal point of view, 16 and 17 has been very important for his career. Sure. So we will not finish the season within the top 5 or maybe 5th. But I think as of next year, it will be very, very strong and very competitive. Okay.
Like you mentioned, both Romain and Jeremy seem to have struggled this year. Why do you think that is? Let's talk about Jeremy, first of all.
Jeremy, he had a fantastic 14, 2014. Then he struggled on the 15 because it's normal, like you see with Geyser. When you won or you do very good, it's not easy to repeat the coming season. That's the most difficult, everybody knows. So then he had some shock, you know, on the 15, also because his teammate was going very, very, very fast. So then 16 and 17 had been for Jeremy something to reset everything. Yeah. So I think he rode very well beginning of the season. He approached the season very, very well, and then he got injured. He was doing his best, often a second, third, fourth, going for the podium. I think this is also the goal for Jeremy, and then he got injured. He's motivated, and I think also we spoke with him yesterday, and then for the 18 we are expecting again a very big step.
Okay. Well, he has had 2 podiums in 2017, Patagonia and Valkenswaard. Not all bad, but I guess not all good either. You mentioned his injury. How much do you think it was down to that injury in Russia?
The second half of the season, I guess.
Yes, he had a weak mid-season, like June, July, August. So weak season, not only due to the injury, also because of the injury. And then based on this weak period, he will improve a way of training and some change on his preparation for the coming season.
Okay. Okay. And what about Romain? As we said, world champion 2 years ago, tough last year. What about this season? Because, you know, he mentioned in the team report in the USA, he maybe made some changes to the bike at the beginning of the season that harmed his season. What can you tell us about that? Because he seems to now find a good setting.
Yes, yes, you're right. Apart the setting is important. Okay, motorcycle, engine, everything is important. But I think Romain is still in the learning curve. Learning curve means to know what to do at the right time, or to be also prepared to not have a good result when you are looking for. So then, going technically on the bike, he wanted to ride with a little bit, maybe we would say easy bike until some time this year, and then we have decided together with him to make a change. And since Lommel, I think everybody's seeing that. Starts are very good. His average is top 3, sometimes all short. So then also result, this good start affecting on the final result. So on the motivation, psychologically also for the rider is going to give you a boost. So now he feels okay. I know season is gone, but future is not gone.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, next year Yamaha has the all-new YZ450F. How excited are you about the new model?
We are excited to start testing with this bike. We know the bike a bit. So next year, we want to start to practicing with this bike and test on track, and then be prepared for the nation to use the 18 motorcycle.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the nations. Will it be a factory bike or mostly production if you race it at the nations?
And normally no production, but new production will be at a high level and very good. So maybe we keep many parts in production specification. But within these 10 days we have, I know a short time, we want to see how we can introduce, 17 parts, GP parts, modify for the 18 to be ready from Friday or Saturday in the week and be competitive with something not really production.
And it's also important, isn't it, to have that first race on it ahead of the new season.
That's #1 goal in
Yes.
season, to have a race to see with the other competitors, their competition, before the season ends.
Okay. One social media question, Lisa, I believe.
Yep. We have a question on social media from Javier Pro. As the first ever Italian motocross world champion, from yourself to Cairoli in the last 33 years, why do you think Italian teams and riders are so successful at the Nations?
Or just in motocross in general?
We have a big heart.
Yeah, and it's passion. And
Passion, many has a passion, but we have a stronger heart.
Okay.
Big heart.
Big heart.
I like that answer.
And a lot of passion. Well, look, we are out of time. Thank you to Michele for joining us here today. Of course, to Antonio and Thomas Covington. It is the final round on MXGPTV.com this weekend. Enjoy all the action. We are live 3:20 this afternoon, women's race 1. Don't forget, there are 4 girls separated by 5 points coming into this final round, so you won't want to miss that. And for MX2 qualifying, MXGP, the usual time, 4:25 and 5:10. We also have the final round at the MX 250. So sit back and enjoy all the action this weekend from Villars-Suzerain. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the Monster Energy FIM Motocross Nations presented by Fiat Professional. We'll see you then at Matchley Basin. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye-bye.